All right, so maybe you're thinking about a career as a braiding machine operator. Good news is we're going to break it all down for you today.
Yeah, we're diving deep into RoleCatcher's guide on this one. They've got some great info on this career path.
And it's more than just pushing buttons, right? This seems like a field where experience really matters.
Absolutely. And it's interesting. This industry is tougher than you might think when it comes to automation. Skilled operators are in high demand.
Really? I would have thought machines would be doing most of this work by now. What makes it so hard to automate?
It's more complex than it looks. Think about the products.
Okay, right, like what?
Things like medical devices, high-performance ropes. You need a human eye for that. Machines can't quite get the precision needed for braiding at that level.
So it's both technical and hands-on expertise then. A tough combo to find.
Exactly. You need to understand the machinery, but also know how to troubleshoot on the fly, adapt to different materials, ensure quality. You're not just an operator, you're kind of a craftsman.
That makes a lot of sense. And speaking of different skill levels, RoleCatcher breaks this career path into stages, right? Entry level junior, senior operator.
Yeah, and each level comes with more responsibilities.
So let's walk through those. What can someone expect when they're just starting out at the entry level?
At the entry level, it's a lot of learning the ropes, literally. You're assisting the more experienced operators, monitoring the machines, handling basic maintenance. Think of it as an apprenticeship.
So lots of observation, hands-on learning, that sort of thing.
Yeah, exactly. You're building a foundation. Then you move up to junior operator. That's when you start taking on more responsibility.
So less watching, more doing.
Right. You're setting up the machines, calibrating them, making sure those braids meet the quality standards. It's more problem solving at that level, too.
I bet. I imagine something's always going wrong with these machines.
Oh, you have no idea. Thread jams, the tension's off. Yeah. Maybe there's a variation in the material. You got to think fast to keep the production line moving.
So you need to know how to fix the machines, but also understand the actual braiding process itself.
You got it. It's not enough to just push buttons. And that brings us to the top-level senior braiding machine operator.
That sounds impressive. What makes a senior operator different?
Well, now you're not just overseeing the process. You're basically the maestro of the whole braiding orchestra.
Okay, I like that analogy. So what does the maestro do?
You're leading the team, working with the engineers, maybe even coming up with ways to improve the whole braiding process. You're a mentor and an innovator.
Sounds like a lot of collaboration at that level.
It's huge. You're the bridge between the shop floor and the engineers who design the braiding patterns.
So you need to speak both languages, so to speak.
You got it. And that's where the continuous learning comes in, right? This isn't a field where you just learn it all and you're done.
Right. Technology changes so fast these days.
Exactly. New materials pop up, machines get more complex. You always got to stay ahead of the game.
So are we talking workshops, certifications, things like that?
That's part of it. RoleCatcher actually had this cool idea about building a portfolio of your work.
A portfolio? Like for a braiding machine operator? I've never heard of that.
Yeah. It's a great way to stand out, though. Imagine being able to show a potential employer how you tackled a tough problem, made things more efficient.
Proof, not just promises.
Exactly. And speaking of standing out, RoleCatcher included some sample interview questions in their guide. Those are so helpful.
Oh yeah, I was going to bring those up. Interviews can be scary. Having some good answers prepped makes a big difference.
For sure. And these are tailored to the job, which is even better.
They had one that really jumped out at me. It was, describe a time you had to troubleshoot a complex issue with a braiding machine.
Oh, that's a good one. You really get to show off your experience there.
It's not just about saying, I fixed it either, right? You have to really walk them through your process.
Exactly. How you found the problem, the steps you took, did you have to improvise? That shows you can analyze, solve problems, learn.
And they also asked, how do you ensure the quality of the braids? Which seems pretty crucial.
Totally. That's about your attention to detail, making sure you produce top-notch work. You could talk about your process there.
Like how you inspect the braids, or maybe you have a system for double-checking.
Yeah. Anything that shows you're dedicated to quality. Because it's important at every level, really.
Right. From entry level all the way up to senior operator. It's interesting, though, it's not all just about technical stuff, is it?
You're right. RoleCatcher mentions teamwork a lot, too. And communication.
Which makes sense. You're not working in isolation after all.
Nope. You've got other operators, supervisors, engineers. Got to communicate clearly, listen to what others are saying, work together.
Especially at the senior level, I'd imagine, where you're leading the team.
Exactly. The higher you go, the more important those team skills become. And, RoleCatcher doesn't just focus narrowly on this one job.
What do you mean?
Well, they encourage people to explore other related career paths, too.
Oh, that's smart. Keep your options open.
Right. So if you're interested in blading machines, they suggest checking out knitting machines, too, or maybe even something like textile quality technician.
It helps to see the bigger picture, see how everything connects.
And they even link to big players in the industry, like the World Federation of Sporting Goods Industry.
Wow, they don't mess around. What's the thinking behind that?
It's about giving you a sense of the industry as a whole. Those organizations have tons of resources, info on trends.
Networking opportunities, maybe.
Definitely. It's not just about finding a job.
Mhm.
It's about building your career long term. And that actually reminds me of another tool they talked about.
Oh, yeah. What's that?
It's called RoleCatcher.capture. Have you heard of it? It's supposed to make job hunting way easier.
I actually haven't. That's intriguing, though, because finding jobs online, can be a nightmare. It really can. So tell me, how does RoleCatcher capture make it less of a nightmare?
Well, instead of you having to go to all the different job boards yourself, company websites, indeed, all those...
Oh, I know. It's overwhelming.
It is, right? So this basically does it for you. Puts it all in one place, you tell it what you're looking for, and it finds the listings.
That is seriously cool. No more endless scrolling and clicking and hoping I didn't miss anything.
Exactly. Keeps everything organized. Makes applying way less of a headache.
Yeah.
That's RoleCatcher in a nutshell, really. They're all about using tech to your advantage.
It's like you were saying, it's not enough to just know the machines. Got to use all the tools you've got, right?
100%. Continuous learning, being adaptable, embracing the tech.
Yeah.
That's how you get ahead in this field.
It's really great advice for any career, I think. So to wrap things up here for someone listening who's thinking, braiding machine operator, that sounds interesting. What would you say is the most important thing for them to remember?
I think it's that this is a real career path, not just a job. It takes skill, it takes dedication, but there's room to grow. And RoleCatcher's Guide is a perfect place to start.
It's a great resource, for sure. Tons of info we didn't even get to today.
So much more to explore. And honestly, this industry is only getting bigger. New tech, new materials, it's all got to be braided.
That's a great point. The future's bright for braiding, it seems. All right, well, that's about all the time we have for today. Thanks so much for breaking this all down with us.
Happy to do it. Always enjoy talking braiding.
Me too. And listeners, thank you for joining us on this deep dive. Be sure to check back next time for another fascinating career exploration.